Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Day 9.
Oh, and I'm DJ Wheat, and I'm ready to hop into the final matchup here for Day 2 of the MLG Winter Championship.
It is going to be between two superstars of the StarCraft scene, Dignitas' Select and Grubby from Team Grubby.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, two players. Well, I mean, Halo, man, that dude really great.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was for Grubby or for no. Grubby, of course, a player who we've seen improve time and time again. Select, who was like a staple household name when it came to the early MLG events that we saw in 2010 and going into 2011. But Select, kind of like his presence has not been as strong as it was in those early days and those early events. Grubby, however, his presence has become more and more intimidating as he continues to post up some fairly decent results. Now, he didn't have a great run in his group, but that does not really erase any of his accolades and any of his accomplishments over the course of the past couple months.
I mean, he was in the group of death where he performed as admirably as he could. And ladies and gents, it's time to make some noise as it is finally, truly, the last match of the night in the bottom right corner. From the Netherlands, from Team Grubby, it is Grubby.
And in the northwest position as the blue Terran, give him a nice up sun cheer. It is Dignitas Select.
Now, it does look like Dignitas' Select is spawning in the top left. In the opposite corner on this map, you cannot possibly spawn in close position, so that does generally mean that it will be somewhat of a macro mode, but we have seen Select get really, really aggressive with those two-raxing sort of things very often on all maps.
Now, I know this might come as a real big surprise to you, Sean. I mean, I want you, are you sitting?
Yes.
Some people actually watch things other than StarCraft.
Are you talking about sports ball where people try to score points?
Yes, yes. Actually, for those of you that are local here and you haven't been watching, I understand that Ohio State has made it to the Final Four. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means, but let me just note that they put a production note in front of us and we're like, you're fired unless you say this.
Yes,
we're like, oh no,
yes.
We'll do it.
Yes.
Now, to be honest, that is untrue. We just wanted to let you know that. Now, I want to just take a moment to say the exact same thing I said about Grubby earlier on today. He had the weight of the world on his shoulders when he stepped into StarCraft 2. As the champion of Warcraft 3, as one of the most famous esports figures of all time, he stepped into StarCraft 2 mediocre and let a lot of people down, but rather than be discouraged, he continued to stride forward, always having a positive attitude. And even today, I asked him how things were going, and he said, well, despite the results, I feel great, and I'm so happy to be on stage. It is that kind of attitude.
Absolutely.
Which is exactly why he continues to climb and climb and climb.
I mean, it just cannot be said enough about Grubby, just, you know, what a humbling player he is. He doesn't try to pretend he's something he's not, and he really will work towards what he knows he needs to. So, you know, this is an exciting matchup for me because Select has always been one of those players that I've really enjoyed watching. And we do have a gasless build here going on, so we're probably going to get this low ground command center going down almost immediately as we have the first Marine chasing that probe all the way back to the tower and eventually home. Where is the command center? Where? There it is.
Oh, wow, that's a uncharacteristically sloppy mistake by Select, whose first-person camera I am watching right now. Interestingly, we see Grubby going for double Geyser, which is quite uncommon. I mean, players are all about the one gate early expand, but look at that, 2 in either Geyser for a total of 4 probes mining gas. This is generally a sign of someone who wants to be stockpiling a lot of sentries early on while still getting that relatively fast Nexus.
I mean, look at Select knowing that he put down his CC first. He is going to drop a bunker at the top of that ramp. And I like it when I see Terran players do this for just preparing. You know, there's been too many times where we've seen Terran players caught off guard by something, you know, very, very early, and not having that bunker up soon enough, you know, could put them in a terrible situation. But Grubby going to drop down his Nexus now very, very early. Just goes with the one gate expand. He's chrono boosting out his warp gate research. And Stalker versus Marines out here in the middle of the map. And Stalker says he wants some more blood on his hands. He takes out another Marine, and he'll be content with that. 2 kills on that Stalker as he heads back home.
Look at this. He still has 2 in either geyser. However, you'll see that Grubby is throwing down the 3 gates, is still adding on more sentries, has been spending a good amount of chrono boost on that warp gate research upgrade. I actually think that we're going to see a bust play, a very, very fast sentry zealot stalker push to try to break down that front of Dignitas Select.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, especially considering just how active Grubby's been around the map. He wanted to get with those Marines, and he would do anything. He ended up taking out 2. And now that he controls that center, he might be able to catch Select a little bit more off guard. He's going to come up here with this Stalker and immediately turn back as he sees that the bunker is up and a few more Marines. In fact, oh, Grubby! He's going to lose that Stalker, and very, very smart for Select to go ahead and jettison those Marines out of the bunker and to get that kill. That, of course, limits that great vision that I was just talking about.
Now, a little bit of weirdness coming out of Select is we did see him throw down a barracks, let it build a little bit, and then cancel it. Kind of an uncharacteristic play. At the same time, though, we see him following up with the very standard spending gas on infantry before drop play. He's getting stim, following it up with an engineering bay to get a fast +1.
And we've got these units moving out right now, and we do already have that first proxy pylon going up for Grubby. Meanwhile, we've got more bio moving out across the center of the map. Oh, he's going to get it. No, he doesn't. There's only 1 Marauder in that mix. Not close enough. Concussion shell just finished. Now Stim is underway at that tech lab at the barracks. And look at the opening ground army here for Grubby. We've got 5 Zealots, a Stalker, and we have got 3 Sentries.
Now, this is an interesting composition from Grubby. I mean, he, especially in terms of buildings, it looks like we see 1 Forge, maybe Forge 2 will go down, but I'm most looking for a Dark Shrine, no Blink goes down. This is just wild, wild opening coming out of Grubby. I mean, very often we see players going for the double upgrades and then for Zealot with Archon on 2 base, but you know, the single Forge with Blink letting him get just a little bit of upgrades in there while still being able to harass and be anti-drop. I honestly think that on Antigua Shipyard you must get Blink before drop, as it is so easy to abuse those mains.
And we have Select actually giving up his center position, not wanting to engage with this army that is moving across the map. Another pylon will go down, of course, increasing the various routes and directions in which Grubby can actually warp in and or attack from. I like this 1 Marine at the 3rd to stop a probe from getting up there and possibly planting a pylon. But look at that, Grubby being very smart, knowing that is a possibility that is there, kills that 1 Marine and heads back out, regaining vision across the map. But take a look at inside Select's bases as Bioforce starting to get larger and larger. Stim's about ready to finish. +1 is on the way as he is throwing down a few more racks. He's now got his factory and starport up, and that starport will most definitely switch up with that factory and start producing some medevacs.
Now, if I am in Grubby's shoes, I'm going to be a little bit leery, not too leery because I have seen some advancements forward, but I mean, you have seen at the 10-minute mark only 1 brief push out from your opponent, and other than that, dead silence. I'm probably going to be pinning my opponent on a faster 3rd command center at this stage, but Grubby, I think, is doing a brilliant build. He's opening up with a little bit of defense, just 4 Stalkers, but most importantly of all, Blink. And look at that Twilight Council finishing up 2 Marcus, and the amount of gas Grubby has stockpiled. Wow.
Yeah, you know, he also had this Templar Archives building over the side. There we got the High Templar coming out. That, of course, changing things a little bit. He can have those Archons fairly quickly. He's also has not started to research Storm quite yet. So we'll see exactly what he has in store with those High Templar. But here we have another force moving out. Now the Bio army of Select right now, he is currently sitting at 46 army supply as opposed to Grubby's 36. And whether or not he's going to choose to do some sort of a drop play, there's a lot of pylons scattered around the map that he could potentially take down there for Grubby. But both players playing a very, very respectful game, not really wanting to engage first in this situation. There we have that 3rd going down for Select right now. Not even going to build it in his base, going to throw it down right inside the 3rd, give him a little bit more advantage here. And again, Select begins to move out.
Select finally advancing forward, but I think it's going to be a little bit of danger for the Terran player as Grubby has essentially had freedom to do whatever he wants. And what he wants to do is get a bunch of Storm, and a single Stalker gets left behind. Can he manage to get that blink out? He still needs 3 more seconds, and man, Grubby is so bold. There's the expand going down right as units are sprinting at him, and with that amazingly brilliant pylon spread, he's going to be in good condition. And it looks like in the back of the main, the 2 High Templar that are there to storm and defend have not moved forward, and their Storm finishes, Marcus.
Yeah, Storm finishes up. Does he have any other High Templar that he's warped in? He did warp 2 more in, but made an Archon. So he's got 2 inside the main, 2 now at the natural, joining up this army. And like you said, to use Storm versus this type of composition should be pretty good. And there we see that cleanup of the pylons. Yeah, and
nice,
it was a very nice feedback. But of course, like I said, a lot of these pylons scattered around the map, and Select is going to pick these off one by one. But in this particular composition, not only with the feedbacks, but also the Storm capabilities, it's something that he's definitely got to have an answer for.
And man, we see Grubby
so many racks
playing so carefully and getting all his late game up. I mean, a lot of Protosses lately have essentially been saying, I'm just going to get really good upgrades and then step into action. Grubby literally is doing exactly what he wants. A lot of Protosses would try to push earlier on, would try to be aggressive, try to pick down the opponent. Grubby defending the entire game, and there he is, a starting +2 ground weapon with +3 ground armor about to begin as well.
Now, just taking a look at what Grubby is doing here, it looked like he was going to go try to attack this drop in the northeast position. It's just been sitting there for quite some time. And I mean, we do see Select being fairly active. He's gone south of the tower as well, but it looked like he might want to try to go into the main. And here we got a stim, and these Stalkers are caught. One almost getting taken out, but quickly blinking back. And now this army is starting to mobilize here. Grubby, though, really choosing to wait a bit before he's got a lot of energy on these High Templar. He's got several Zealots and more Archons out. He will stop that Marine who is giving vision, and he should know that this is coming. But is he going to attack the 3rd from the back? Select does have some ghosts out, so he's got to be careful in this engagement.
Grubby has a very technical army, has all the upgrades on each one, but I'm not surprised to see him having this army. If you envision that Archon as the hero unit, he essentially has the giant spellcaster basic Warcraft 3 ground army. We see the Templar in the back. Those sentries there ready to throw down some nice force fields, but it looks like he pays attention a little bit too late. An amazing storm by Grubby, and that stunning patience continues to carry through.
Now he's got some High Templar actually, just I'm not sure if they're hotkeyed. Let me look. He does have these 2 hotkeyed differently than the rest of his army, so Grubby actually leaving quite a few High Templar around the map. Just not sure if he's actually planning to get some storms or wants the feedback, but I mean, valuable units that he does not necessarily want to lose. He's now going to move back out. There we see 1 High Templar just picked off. I'm not sure what Grubby, there we go.
I mean, I want to go ahead to the units lost tab and just point out how good Select has been about conserving all of those units. We see another 4 ghosts have popped out, bringing his count to 12 ghosts, 43 Marines. Marines really are the damage dealers in these late game situations as long as you can get those EMPs down. Very unusual hockey setup from Select. 1 is ground units, 4 is medevacs, 6 as ghosts, with 5 as a building, skipping over control groups 2 and 3.
That's kind of interesting, and everyone has a different. Now here we got a couple units coming up to center. Zealots there to clean it up, no problem. 1 medevac going to come in between, but he's got to keep this bio army together. Grubby not really in a position to go head-to-head versus this. And again, another High Templar just sitting out there. Their High Templar getting sniped and not dropping their storms. Another storm on top, but these High Templar, I'm not sure what Grubby's doing here.
Grubby's patiently waiting. How many High Templar does he have left? It looks like he has 5 still. Another High Templar falls. More cannons going up. We see Select continuing to step forward with that maxed army might, now taking down the pylon, and it looks like that expansion is very vulnerable.
Yes, it is. There's the scan. He checks to see where the army is. Oh my gosh, EMPs dropping all over this army like crazy. This 3rd is going to fall as we see the departure of the probes here, and the Nexus is going to go down. Look at this force from Grubby. A lot of these Zealots already losing their shield, just now starting to regen. And
the exact hit that Grubby needed in the advancement. We see that amazingly, out of nowhere, Grubby crushing the force of Select. Storm, Zealots warp in.
Man.
Oh my God.
Oh my
So many
gosh.
EMPs. The army gets obliterated, and suddenly Select is on the back foot. We see 4 bases on the map for Grubby, despite losing his third.
Yeah, and look at the only thing left now are these cloaked ghosts. I don't even know that we've got an observer out. We do, but nowhere near this particular area. And if he could pick off those ghosts, that would be such a big, big, big win for Grubby here. But Select starting to fight back as he moves this army back in the middle. A Colossus is out as well. It looks like some of those ghosts going to lose their energy. They uncloak. And look at that.
Oh, he's now sprinting forward with Blink. But as we go to the bottom right side of the map and click on that robotics bay, we see that there is no range at all. Grubby needs to recognize he is now transferring workers to the top right and bottom left. A little bit of a risky spot for Grubby as we see Select, holy crap, all the way at 171 food. So many barracks. I'm stunned at the amount of barracks he has.
Yeah, he has quite a few as he continues to add more and more on here. We see +3 weapons on the way now for Grubby. Over on the other side, 3-3 coming down for Select. And of course, that means this bio army is going to be incredibly deadly. And now we have the Vikings coming out as well as an answer to this Colossus that he's seen right now. Grubby with a Colossus count of 3. He's making his way over, might actually catch this little force off guard. And
nice play by Grubby,
yep.
Good recognize. Oops, blinks back. Wants to get into a better position. The Colossus coming to town. Will he be able to catch these medevacs? Gonna be close. And oh, a Templar just over there, apparently. I mean, just incredible spreading of those casters. But look at Select catching everything off guard and heading to the south.
Oh, he's going to be able to cut them off big time. There's only a couple of Archons and, of course, the Colossus and a few Immortals as well. But he really needs some High Templar and the Zealots in this mission. Here the Zealots come out there. The Storms start to come down. The army moves forward. The Vikings immediately working on that first Colossus.
But it looks like the range is not yet done. Select doing a great job sniping off, but the damage output from Grubby is astounding. Manages to clean that army up, even though Select is up 163 to 108. Grubby forcing Select to retreat.
Yeah, but the big question now is, with these reinforcements coming, and what do we got? Oh,
Ghost at the bottom. Oh, now just target firing down a single one of those High Templar, but my God, the Zealots do so much damage with the 3-3 1-ups.
It's actually quite amazing that he hasn't had extra observers come out to deal with this, but he wants to get that Colossus count higher and higher as the energy is about to run out on these ghosts. And that Zealot, well, he thinks he's going to clean all of them up, but he only gets one before he finally goes down, and that threat has been eliminated. But look at this new threat that's marching down the map. I mean, how can he defend this third?
Oh my God, Select's macro, ungodly moving down. Stimming, picking off those retreating Zealots. I mean, Grubby desperate for another warp in. What happened to that organization? And the pylon falls, no more reinforcements coming down. And Select taking down another expansion.
Yeah, I mean, the Archon's going to go. Here come a couple of High Templar all the way from the other side. Unfortunately, they know that it's not going to be good to engage here, and that Nexus does fall. Now, keep in mind, in the northeast side of the base, there is this by Grubby, but here comes a Doom Drop into the main. If he gets rid of the production, what can Grubby do?
No, Grubby in a world of hurt. We see the Colossi in the wrong position. Now we see more Templar morphing in from afar. Can he get some kind of feedback down, maybe save up enough for Storm? But look at the center of the map, a big army sweeping in. It will spot those probes heading up to the north.
And it may not even matter. If he goes in, he's going to potentially attack the third. Actually, he sees that the third was never really rebuilt, so he can start walking directly into the natural and start to do some damage. Right now, a few additional gateways have gone down. He has picked that drop back up. Actually, no, Select still has a few more units. He can get rid of the Forge. He can get rid of that pylon, powering all this other stuff. And I mean, Grubby is spread so thin right now.
Grubby needs to be in so many places at once. His only hope is that the top right expansion doesn't get spotted. Select had a clear view of that probe trail to that top right, but it looks like he has not yet mobilized. In Select's vision, in fact, not even scouted the top right, just taking the center calmly, and now taking the top right. Select just on point.
Yeah, and I mean, just look at the supply right now. 200, Sean, for Select, 104 for Grubby. He doesn't even have max supply yet, and you know, this is an almost impossible situation to even come back with, especially when you look at this force that Select has right now. When I look at the standing ground army, it's nothing compared to what Select is rolling around with in Bio.
Only 5 Vikings, though. That could help quite a bit, and it looks like Select has spotted the top right. Can Grubby get a good enough pick off? And it looks like there the Vikings starting to slowly work away on the Colossi. Select has victory in his eyes.
Yes, he does. He's going to spread himself out nicely, get rid of these Zealots first. The Storms go down, but don't hit a whole lot of units. So there's GG.
Wow.
Game 1 goes to Dignitas Select.
I mean, Select played a great game. I think that Grubby's build order was absolutely brilliant, but I never really got the opportunity to make a big push against Select. I think that if Grubby literally does that same build and starts trying to step into the aggressor's role more in the mid game, he can get in those engagements before Select has 5 bases, before Select gets his ghost count to 20. I mean, once the ghost count gets that high, I mean, you can even begin sniping Zealots.
Yeah, and he was, I mean, sniping High Templar. I mean, there were some unbelievable EMPs during that game. And he was, you know, staying constant on there, not just throwing out EMPs, trying to carpet the whole army, but actually just being very selective. Like, oh, I've got high ground vision, boom, EMP, deal with that. Doesn't mean he wants to attack right now, and then can kind of roam freely. That's when the 3rd base went down for Grubby. So, I mean, that looked like the Select that I sort of know and love, you know?
And I mean, no BS, no tricky play by Select. Straight up, solid, through and through. Will Grubby be able to pull the comeback? He's played against 5 Koreans in Group D, against his 6th now in Select. It would be a miracle for him to make the comeback. I'm Day 9.
And I'm DJ Wheat. When we return from this short commercial break, we'll have Game 2 here between Grubby and Select. Don't go away.